it's the RC Genius, and today I'm going to be going over some of the interchangeable parts between a Traxxas Slash and a Traxxas Stampede or Monster Truck, which a Stampede is the same as the Bigfoot, Scully, Craniac, Monster Jam series trucks, all those same chassis over all those different series that Traxxas released those trucks in. And the Slash, this is two-wheel drive. Four-wheel drive is going to be a little bit different, so this video is going to be kind of going for both two-wheel drive vehicles, and I hope you guys enjoy this video. We're going to be going over some of the parts that are the same between both the Slash and the Stampede, so kind of parts, if you needed to take something from the Slash, you could put it on the Stampede or vice versa. Or just if you're looking for part numbers for the Slash, but you can't figure it out and you have a Stampede, you know the part number to that, I'm going to show you which parts are the same. So, starting from, I guess we can go from the front and move our way to the back. Starting in the front, you can see the bumpers are different, so the bumpers are not the same. But one thing that is the same are the caster blocks. These are actually both the exact same kinds of caster blocks, just different colors, and they are aluminum from Traxxas, and this one is red, this one's blue, but they are both exactly the same part number and part, so those are exactly the same. Also, the A-arms are the same on both trucks, except this truck has got RPM, this one is stock, but they are both the same part number, same size and everything. The shocks, originally the shocks would be the same, although this truck has got stock shocks and this one has got Helion big bore aluminum shocks, and so they're not the same right now, but when they're both trucks are stock, it is the same. Those are both interchangeable parts. One thing that the Slash has that I wish the Stampedes had, and this is actually not even my Slash, this is my brother's Slash. I really should get a Slash one day. But one thing that the Slash has, and I'll bring it closer so you guys can see, these Camber Links are actually rods, and they're steel. I would imagine they're steel, and they are very, very large, bulky, strong Camber Links, whereas the Traxxas trucks, I feel like they kind of made it more toy grade and put in those plastic bars, which are totally fine, but one day I do think I want to upgrade to aluminum ones, because these ones are actually pretty weak in some ways. Although I did do some research, and actually the aluminum ones, I found them on Amazon, the aluminum ones are actually supposed to be weaker than the original plastic ones, which, if that's the truth, that's really unfortunate. Everyone is recommending, though, to move up to RPM, which I already have some RPM ones, so I very well might just put some RPM ones on there. Going back to what is interchangeable. The chassis obviously are not. This Slash has got a super wide chassis. The Stampede does not. Chassis are off the table. There's no way those are interchangeable. The tires, you could put any kind of tires on either one of these trucks. You could put the Slash tires on here. You could put the Monster Truck tires on here. I've seen a lot of people take a Monster Truck tire and turn a Slash into a Monster Slash. And I think it looks pretty cool. It is pretty cool. I mean, it's got a much higher stance. The hubs are all the same, so that's what allows you to do that. But definitely the tires, I mean, you can do anything with those. You could even put drift tires on here, as long as they're all the same hub. Let's see, what else is the same? I believe that the bulkhead back here, a lot of new people in the hobby wouldn't know what a bulkhead is, but I believe the bulkhead on the inside here, you can't see it very well on either truck, but those are, I think, interchangeable as well. I'm not certain about those ones, because I don't know much about the Slash, as I don't own it, but I do a little work on it, and I think the bulkhead is the same as well. Steering knuckles are the same, and let's actually go over some of the electronics now. The servos, stock servos that came with both trucks. Let me move back to the other side. The Slash came with a 2075 digital servo. and the Stampedes come with a 2056 standard servo, and I don't know what digital means. Actually, I haven't done that research to figure out what digital means. And when I say 2075 or 2056, that's just the part number. They are different, and the 2075 is a digital one. I don't know what it does, what the difference is. I think it might be so that way you can hook it up with telemetry and the stuff where you put your phone in the remote and have all the specs. I don't know for sure. But what I do know is that the two servos are actually different. Although I do think you can swap them out. There shouldn't be any difference. I have put a 2075 on my trucks, and there's no difference between the digital and the standard. But the two are basically the same, but I don't know why Traxxas swapped it. I don't know why they did what they did. But that's kind of just one electronic. The ESCs are the same, the motors are completely the same, and also the receivers are most likely the same unless you have an older Stampede that has the long extendable antenna, which I don't have that anymore. But when I did, the two receivers were very different. Now they're the same because they're both 2.4 gigahertz and standard stuff now for Traxxas vehicles and most RCs these days. The body mounts can all be interchangeable, especially if you want to run a different kind of body on either truck. The body mounts are all the same distance here at the shock towers. They're all the same, so you can swap out, the front mounts on the Stampede and put it on the Slash, and then you can have a pickup truck body on here or whatever you want to do. So that is also pretty much the same. Going on the bottom, how am I going to do this? I'm not going to be able to fit this, I don't think. But let's see here. Yeah, you kind of sort of get a little bit of a idea of what that looks like. There you go. Skid plates are not the same. Skid plates definitely are not interchangeable because the front one especially is a lot longer. The rear one, however, is interchangeable. The rear one on the Slash and the rear one on the Stampede are in fact the same, which is very weird, but it is that way. The Servo Savers are not the same. As you can see here, the Servo Saver on the Slash is a single screw attachment for the linkages, whereas the one over here for the Stampede is two linkages going directly to it. And as you can see, the whole steering setup is completely different. It's not a direct link to the Servo Saver. You have this piece in the middle that kind of transfers the power from the servo to the... It's very complicated, but it is kind of a genius idea. I mean, they definitely made the Slash really well. Rotating trucks go into the back end of the vehicles. Let me put my camera back down. There we go. Going to the back, the motors are the same, I already said that. The axles are all the same in here. The actual telescoping axles are the same. The camber links are still different. Even in the rear on the Slash, they still put those rods, and I really like that. I think that the rear A-arms are also the same, except that the rear A-arms look a lot different on the Slash than they do on the Stampede. They have all this cross plastic X looking shapes on it. I guess that's for integrity, I would imagine. But the Stampede doesn't have that. Even the stock one doesn't have that kind of A-arm. But I am rather certain that they are the same. The stub axle carriers are the same. The little piece, let's see here. You guys can't see this. The little piece in here that connects to the camber link and holds the rear axle in place. That is also the same. The entire transmission box is actually the same on both trucks, which is nice because then you know that you also have all the same transmission gears. However, the Slash has got a different stock spur gear than the Stampede does. I believe the Slash has a 86 tooth spur gear and the Stampede has a 90 tooth. Just a tiny little difference. Really not much, but enough of a difference there. Same pitch though. And let's see, what else is there really? I mean, there's not much else on the vehicle. Obviously the rear bumpers aren't the same. The mounts and the shock towers are still the same on the rear. And the shocks are still the same. And I think that's pretty much it, you guys. Batteries are actually different. That's another thing that has to be said about the differences, is that the battery is different, whereas the battery on the Slash has usually it's a battery that has if it's a 7-cell, it has the little battery cell on the top. They call it a hump. And so the battery that goes in the Stampede has the hump, which is the battery with the cell on top, 6 laid out and then 1 on top in the middle. The Slash has got the flat pack, which is basically 6 laid out and then 1 cell put going, I guess if you were looking at one way, it would be going horizontally, or what you guys kind of understand what I mean. But especially if you have a Slash, that's the kind of battery you use. It's a 7-cell flat, and that makes a big difference because the flat is a lot longer than the hump pack is. So that's kind of it, I think. I don't think that there's much else to talk about with what's the same and what is different on the Slash versus the Stampede. The only other thing that I'm going to say about the Stampede and not the Slash, because this is kind of just for my viewers that have been watching my videos for a while, I did change the rear shock setup on the Gravedigger, which is what this truck is. I did change these shocks. When I first originally got them, I did have, they were double spring, so they were 1 long spring and then a separator and then a much smaller spring on top, so they were dual springs. I took that out when I got it, but now I just recently put it back in the rear because the rear was sagging a lot, especially after that video I did with the 20-foot jumps. And so the rear was way down, sagging a lot, and so I've definitely had to do something about that, and so that's what I did. The front is still the same. I did loosen the front just a little bit to bring it down because it was so high. I'm not sure why it has been so high, but I did that. And also, I didn't say this at the end of the video where I did do the 20-foot jumps, but the only thing that broke on the truck was this body mount piece right here with the well, there's 3 screws left. Usually has 4 screws back here that will hold the actual body mount tower. So that's kind of a little bit of info for the viewers, and this is for anyone that wanted to know what parts are interchangeable. I did actually get a request for this video, and I'm not exactly sure who suggested it. I cannot quite remember. I will put the link to their channel in the description to who actually left that comment. I need to go and figure out who did. But I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. I thought it was a great idea when I heard about making this video, and definitely wanted to take that opportunity. So I hope you all found this helpful, which parts you can swap between the 2 trucks and which parts are in fact the same, and how similar the trucks really are. If it weren't just for this one larger chassis, both trucks could be almost identical. So, thank you everyone for watching. Please like and subscribe, share my videos, and hopefully we hit 300 subscribers really soon. We only have 3 more to go until we hit 300. That'll be a huge milestone. Thank you everyone for watching, and I will see you next time on the RC Genius.